The scrap metal recycling industry has always run on hustle, trust, and sharp instincts. This is the podcast for traders and operators who want to get sharper without losing their scrappy edge. I'm Stu Kagan, bringing you insights and stories from the people shaping the future of our industry. This is Born Scrappy. John Sacco, am I excited to have you on my show again? Wow. Welcome.
Good to be here. Good to be here, Stuart.
John, welcome again to Born Scrappy. I think we've done live twice, once recorded, but this is a different era. It's a different era for John Sacco. It's a different era for Sierra. It's a different era for me. I'm doing all masterclasses at the moment. Things are changing. So I'm excited to delve in. John, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty amazing right now. I feel really good. It's kind of strange, but I feel fantastic. I didn't know how good I was going to feel.
You know, we all consider ourselves your friends. So that's fantastic to hear. Just update everybody kind of where you are with all the movements at the company, the family, all that sort of stuff. Tell us what's going on.
Okay, so at the end of the year, I sold my interest in the Sierra companies to my nephew, Philip. We call him Little Phil, so he's always going to be Little Phil. To Little Phil, and the company stays within the family. I can't tell you how many people that I've talked to within the company and outside the company said to me, "Thank God you kept it in the family and you didn't sell it to some private equity group." It's a great transition for me on a personal level. The core culture is in place. There's always going to be changes. I mean, let's face it. But I think the core competency of the company and its culture remains and it moves forward. And so that happened at the very end of December. So here we are in 2026. And, I'm staying on for a year to help advise my nephew, to talk to a lot of relationships that I have. Because, in the end, we're still a family. And my nephew and my brother, they're my family. And, it worked out for me and it worked out for them. So everybody wins here. So it's a win-win situation. It took people by surprise. That's for sure. They didn't see it happening like this, but it happened and it's okay. I'm fine. It's great. The company's great. So like I say, everybody wins.
Look, we've been speaking over the last few weeks, and what you say now while being recorded is the exact same thing you say on the phone to me. You're feeling in a great place right now. You're excited for the future. Let's get a little idea of what that future might look like. You've handed over the reins. I just want to say something. If you're ever selling a company again with a brand like Sierra that you built, please put me on the list to offer it to, because that brand, that Sierra brand, has to be the best brand in the industry that I've ever seen. And it's exactly why we've brought you here to talk about repurposing the narrative for the businesses that are listening. But what does the next stage look like, John?
Well, the next stage is, look, like I said, I still got, February is half over. So there's, I'm going to write out the year with Sierra. And I don't want to say just write out. Look, my nephew and I talk 10 times a day. And we go through a lot of different things that I did that he didn't do and didn't know. I don't want to say he seeks advice as if he doesn't know what he's doing. He'll have something come up and he wants a sounding board. And because he has really great instincts and because he knows what he's doing, it's fine. And so I'm doing that and with a smile on my face. It's not begrudgingly. No, I feel good about it. And but the next step for me is later this year, I'm going to be launching JBS Strategic Consulting, where I'm bringing people together, bringing concepts to industry leaders and their companies, company higher ups about alignment and their brand build. I'm not going to be a social media poster. That's not what I'm doing. I'm going to be bringing people together. And I've done that already by bringing people to see something that is quite unique. I don't really want to disclose that, But there's a lot of things out there that I know, people I know, and things that I see from different perspective that I'm going to bring people together. And it doesn't have to be the recycled materials industry alone. Yes, that's where my greatest contacts are. That's where most of my friends are. But it's interesting having conversations with a lot of different people already wanted me to help them in identifying their misalignment from ownership to the different branches that they may have. There is no real alignment with their brand, and there's no real alignment with, well, what is the marketing? Who are they marketing to? And you got all these branches. So there's a lot of things that I love doing, and it doesn't feel like work. And God, the old cliche, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. And I think that's where I'm going to be, because I'm not choosing to work with people I don't want to work with.
Yeah, that's awesome. And if you think about it, the overlap of brand building through other industries, you're absolutely not pigeonholed. There's nothing that's keeping you in the material recycling industry. You were able to build this muscle in this industry. But exactly what you've done here, you could do and assist companies in almost any industry, because what we're going to talk about today is about the narrative, and it's about taking a business and starting, and how do you get your brand out there and building that brand. It doesn't have to be in our industry. Yes, a lot of the topics will be about our industry, but what you've learned can be rolled across any industry.
Well, I feel that way. I honestly believe that. But look, just because I'm not an owner of Sierra anymore doesn't mean I don't love the recycled materials industry. I do. Having been a past chairman of ISRI, now ReMA, I'm staying involved because I enjoy the people. Look, I have so many friends, and to disappear would be disappearing from people I really respect and enjoy being with. So I'm going to be there. I'm going to be in Las Vegas at the ReMA convention. I'm going to be at the BIR in Gothenburg, Sweden. Why? Because I have so many relations, and I'm not going there to be brand building for me, in as much as I'm going to make sure I stay connected to the people and truly help this industry, especially here in America and over in the EU, get out from behind being called waste. That may never change, but we can change that narrative. And how we talk about our industry is still vitally important to me because, and I've said this so many times, there's no industry more vital than our industry. It's the most vital industry in the world, because without us, you don't have healthcare, education, industry, military, you name it. Without us, none of it happens. Okay. So I still think there's a lot of work. Well, no, I don't think. I know there's a tremendous amount of work still to be done in our industry. So hopefully it continues in a good way. I'm here.
Look, we're all excited that you aren't leaving the industry, and you'll be at all the events, and it makes us happy. So let's jump into, I guess, the topic for today. So what we're doing in the season has been masterclasses on certain topics. Instead of just general conversations, we really try and get deep. And now we're going to talk about exactly what we've just been talking about: building that brand, building that narrative, and not only for the industry. And of course, that's important, but let's talk about it tactically, like using a brand for marketing purposes, using a brand to land new business, to get new customers, to have customers feel an emotion towards your business, right? It's one of the hardest things you do, and it takes so much time and so much effort, but the outcome is just absolutely massive. And you guys proved that with Sierra. I mean, to be honest with you, not only do I hear amazing things whenever I'm walking around all the different yards, but I only have amazing things to say about the company as well. And that's purely because of the brand, because I haven't used one of your pieces of equipment for 10, 15 years. So,
but you've been to our facility in Bakersfield, so we practiced what we preached. The brand, there's so much behind it. So, I won't say, ramble. I'll answer your specific questions the best as I can.
So let's understand, we don't have to go long into how it all started, but just tell me, was there like an aha moment where you were running your business and you were like, number one, we need to fix this industry or the way that it's seen, and number two, this will be really beneficial for the company?
When I found out using this cell phone and social media was free.
Right.
My first thing that I did was I did a video of me going, "We do what you do every day." And I had a friend reach out and goes, That is genius. What ad agency did you use? I said, I just
My
came up.
right arm.
So I always have had a creative mind towards this. And until I understood the power of social media, I was against it. I thought it was just for kids. Instagram was for kids. Didn't know what LinkedIn was. And once I finally grasped what it can do, then I understood how easy it is to do things. And that's how it all started for me, is with knowing that just with a cell phone, with a simple point click and a message, you can get out there and it doesn't cost you anything. That's how it all started with me.
And I mean, you think about it, you said something that just made me think about what my wife, Lisa, used to say to us. And when we were building our company, building a brand from scratch in New Zealand, while we were doing all this posting, it was still kind of early days to be doing it. She wanted to start putting out our prices on Facebook. And I was like, no, metal recyclers never do that. That's like telling our opposition what we're paying, and now they're going to go pay higher prices. So I said to her, we can't do that, because all that's going to happen is the other yards down the road are going to go and beat our prices. And her response was, but who are they going to tell? What she means by that is, if you're not on social media, and I'm getting out to thousands of people. You might have 2 people phone you. I can tell 1,000 people what my price is, and if people like it, they're coming into me. You might be able to tell 2 people.
There was an old joke I used to say on our demolition side of our business: we're the best kept secret out there. And a lot of people are the best kept secret. And I understand and respect, look, this industry has some old habits. You don't talk about what you do. You're in the junk business. You make it as unsexy as possible. You don't get out there. You just don't do things in a flashy way, because that's how the forefathers of this industry always approached it. And yet, if you look at the success and the families that they've raised on, quote unquote, being in a junk business, it's quite amazing. But today, I think sticking your head in the sand and not telling the story in your local community of who you are, or what you want to do, you just become unknown. And people go to those who they're known. I mean, brand build is important. Do we really need to look at Coca-Cola and Nike to truly understand what a brand build is? They do it every day. So can't we take a page? We're not going to spend their kind of money. But like I said, with this cell phone and its capacity to take a photo, a video, and a message and put it out online to communities through Facebook, through Instagram, through TikTok, through LinkedIn, you can reach people far greater than you could ever before. And I think that's just the basic opportunity that exists.
So a lot of people don't want to start because people are like, oh, what are people going to say when I start taking photos of me in a yard? And I'm like, click, click. What did people say to you in the beginning? You said the one guy phoned you and was like, oh, that's brilliant. Who did this for you? But were there naysayers?
The majority of my own company at the time were the naysayers. And nothing against them, because it was just too radical. It was too new.
Yeah.
And but so to your point, you go, if you want to put it out there, what would I say to them? Look, a lot of people don't like being in front of a camera. Okay, that's fine. But the message of your company, a picture of a clean truck can go out there, a picture of a roll-off bin full or a dumping of something, or a picture of the scale house people working, or your employees, your hardworking employees, get them out there. People like that. And so if you don't want to be in front of the camera, fine. In your facility, it's like the biggest Hollywood set of all time. You can find something interesting any and everywhere you go.
So true. Yeah, that is so true. I mean, there is so much good content running around our yard. It's wild if you can't find somebody to take a photo or take a video. When was there a time that you said to yourself, because in the beginning you would have gone, I believe I have an opportunity here. I enjoy this. I think I could be good at this. And I think this could be good for the company. When did you say it is good for the company? Look, that just happened. So when was there like something that commercially
Well,
said, what I'm doing is right?
It was an actual sell of a piece of equipment that was posted, and customer called, goes, "That's the exact machine I need." They bought it, and then it was like the floodgates. It was like, okay, there's more. And then, of course, it evolves like anything else. The market will tell you what they like, so you can't do the same thing over and over. I experimented with so many different things. Some things worked, some things just didn't work. But in the end, it's being fresh and always having something new to put out there. And people like that. People in your community like it.
Mm. What worked surprisingly and what surprisingly flopped? Because you did touch on that.
Yeah, we had a lot of things that worked. I mean, a tremendous amount of things that worked. I mean, the Godfather one where I here it was actually filmed right here where I'm sitting. When I went, "You come in the day and my daughter's like, ask me to recycle." Well, that was filmed here. Now that was huge. It was so much fun doing.
I think that's when everybody learned that you actually have a talent, though. We were like, we just thought you just messed around. We're like, hold on, that was actually really good. And then you had all the other ones come out, all the other movie scenes come out from there.
Yeah, we did a lot of, when I did the Duval, he just passed away from Apocalypse Now. I love the smell of napalm. I love the smell of recycling in the morning. Smells like money. So, those things, The Godfather was one of the biggest hits, but the biggest one that was the craziest one that it was a throwaway post. It was about 3 Super Bowls ago. We had a pizza box commercial, and we filmed this pizza box commercial, and we did it for like 4 years in a row. And I put it out on Saturday. I reposted it because our company put it out on Saturday. So I reposted it on Saturday, had 1,000 views, impressions on LinkedIn. So on Super Bowl Sunday, I'm sitting there. What do? I'll just post it myself. Thing on LinkedIn went beyond viral. There was 78 to 80,000 impressions. It was watched for, it was a 1-minute spot that we did, and it was watched for 80 something hours. Comments were, and I called it a throwaway post. I just threw it out there. I did it yesterday. I'll do it again. And that went crazy. And that on LinkedIn was probably the most surprising thing that ever happened. It was a pizza box commercial. And then the funny thing about a pizza box commercial, and I guess there was tension with the pizza box. Oh, we can't recycle it. It's not recyclable.
Everyone knows
it's very recyclable. And the paper companies, Pratt and West Rock, they all say, hey, we take pizza boxes. They put it out there. And, Domino's Pizza has on the top of their box, do your piece and recycle. So, that was the biggest surprise. Now, the biggest flop.
Because sometimes you put effort into something. You're like, I'm going to do this. It's a great idea. And you use content. You've got your team and they build something and maybe they use AI or whatever.
The recycling rescue team where we recycled the defenseless water heater from...
I remember it. And he spoke. My wife loved it. That was her favorite. That was hilarious
for the general market, but it was so cute. There was a lot of cute ones that didn't blow up that I thought that would do great. But I'm sure there's others. But see, that was the one thing I always knew. And this is what's important. And I tell this to anybody who gets out there who wants to make a presence. You will have winners that you won't even think will be winners. And you are going to have losers that you are absolutely... Now I got it. Now I know the absolute flop that I thought for sure was going to be the biggest one. We did this one where we took a bale coming out of one of our shear balers, and we did the Revolution by the Beatles. We put the music on, and I thought that thing was going to go epic. I don't even think it got 100 views.
I don't even think I saw it.
Yeah, it was early. It was early on, but
right.
Like I say, you're going to have winners and losers. You're going to have unexpected winners and unexpected losers. Don't take it too serious and don't let it get under your skin. Because if you start reading your own reviews, you'll stop.
Yeah, exactly right. If you take it on one bad post or something like that and you stop doing it, that's a fatal flaw. It's about consistency. Keep showing up, build that brand up over time. It's not going to happen overnight. You spend a lot of time around these metal recycling facilities. Can you kind of see early on when you're in one of these companies, like who is actually focused on brand and who isn't? And if so, like, is there any differential that you can see?
In general, I would tell you brand build and image isn't even in the thought of the majority of people that I've been into. They're focused on, their operations. They're focused on buying material right, selling material, and I think that's smart. I mean, you got to keep your eye on the ball because that's what pays the bills, right?
Sure.
Sometimes with branding and marketing, you can't really grasp the ROI on it because you just don't know how many people come in because of it. You don't know how many people let you buy their new material. It's really hard to put a finger on it. And I think most people, I think that's their biggest hurdle is because they don't see a benefit in it. I can understand that. But I think there's a huge benefit. There are other benefits than just having people bring material into it is the brand of why should somebody go to work for a junkyard,
So that was going to say,
scrapyard?
yeah.
Well, if you don't make it somewhat sexy, if you will, how do you attract a talent? And I think that's really missed. But it's hard. So the question you ask, what do I see? I don't see a lot of people doing it. Or when I was in those yards over the last few years, I see some people wanting to do it. I see a lot of hesitation. A lot of people don't want to be in front of a camera. And so, but
John, what would you say then if I said to you that I think, and I do have this personal belief, that brand building affects culture?
Yeah, 100%. When you build a brand and then your employees within the company understand what it is you're doing, the culture builds within. Not only was Sierra branded, if you will, with all the content that we created, but take the forklifts. I posted.
I remember them well.
You
I
know,
was there, John. I
you
was there. I remember those forklifts very well.
The brand build of Sierra Recycling and Demolition, the Sierra companies, was part of the pieces of the puzzles. There's so many pieces to the puzzles that we maintain our equipment at a standard that makes our facility look the most professional you can be. I'm not saying we were the most, or we are. I'm just saying the image is that you are one of the most professional you can be. Well, when your employees see that and they finally grasp what we're trying to do, they themselves become part of the culture of this is how we do it.
Exactly.
This is how we do it right. They become proud of the brand because they're proud of what it represents. And I think that was the biggest win. That was one of the biggest wins, especially in my service department and the company as a whole. But the service department, all those technicians going out in the field, putting machines together. And so many of them would get asked, come on, your forklifts really aren't that nice. And they go, oh, they really are. And you really don't sweep your yard. Yeah, we sweep our yard. You really don't have dirt. It's not old blacktop. It's concrete. It is. And what happens is they felt it. And when they told that story, the culture builds within the brand and it becomes its own machine. It feeds upon itself. And that's the biggest benefit of the brand build was, I think, of the motivation and the pride that the employees took from it. And one last thing that I'll say, Repurpose Season 1. I cannot tell you how many employees from other companies did not know what happened with the material they were processing, sorting it. They didn't realize it was their car, didn't realize it was their bridge, their hospitals, et cetera, et cetera. And boy, I tell you, man, there's some light bulbs that went off like that for employees that they felt part of one of the best, most vital and environmentally green industries there is. So that's
probably one of the most watched shows in my house, because every time somebody comes over for a dinner and they want to understand more about our industry, I'm like, do I have to tell you, or can we just watch a half an hour of the show quickly? Literally, it's like always episode 1. I'm like, just watch this.
What episode are you showing? I want to know what are you showing?
Number one every single time. Number one, because I think it gives them a grasp straight away. Season one, episode one, I feel like you go into what the industry actually is all about in that one. I think if
Right.
you have to watch anyone, that's probably the one.
Cool.
But you touched on one thing. You used one word, which is the number one thing I was thinking of, which was pride. And when I talk about building a brand, I talk about something people can be proud of, something people can feel a part of. And that's where your culture comes. There's the head sports psychologist for the All Black rugby team during the period where they went undefeated for many years. They were a dynasty. And he always spoke about how the number one thing that made them as good as they were was that they felt like they were a part of something bigger. They were a part of something bigger than just themselves as an individual. And he was always like, that's how you build a culture. And I think if you built a brand and people can see that they're a part of something so big, having such an incredible impact, that's where you get an incredible culture. And I think people don't necessarily see those benefits when they look at the return on investment on brand building.
Well, I would agree 100%. And I was going to use a sports analogy as well. People always want to be, look, Sunday, we just had the Super Bowl. And you have all those people who are wearing their Seahawks jerseys, and you had all those people wearing their Patriot jerseys. Dave Portnoy, he was all decked out in his, Patriot gear, right? They identify that's their team. They want to be a champion, right? And if your employees feel that the company they work for, they're champions and they are part of a championship team, to be part of that, you knew you had to be something special, but you also had a discipline and you had to meet a criteria to stay on those teams. You just didn't show up and start dogging it. You showed up and you had to improve. You showed up and you had to be part of a team. And I think that's identical analogy to companies today. And there's a lot of companies who are doing that. And that I see is probably building the culture within more so than building the brand to the outside. They're building it within. And I see a lot of positive things happening with that. People like to come in and put that uniform on that says
exactly
XYZ recycling.
Exactly.
Or whatever it is.
No, I got you. What would you say to somebody that says, I don't have time for this kind of thing. I'm too busy out there running a business, or I'm just a small yard. No one cares about my story. Because I can hear people listening to this going, this isn't for me because I'm a small yard, or this isn't for me because I'm an owner operator and I don't have time like other people.
I would say to you, if your community that you have your operation in matter, if you feel that community has a place for you and you want to be part of it, you have to be part of it. And you don't have to be a national brand, but you have to be a brand. Maybe it's small town America that you're in. But if you become the brand of the recycling, you become the people go to, not only to get ideas, how do we do this? How do we recycle this? And how do we, you become the brand of the community. And when you say you don't have time for it, it doesn't take a lot of time. It just takes a little bit of creativity. There's going to be somebody within your organization. There's going to be somebody within your family who works there. Somebody's going to know a little bit about the socials, or to be able to be part of, you want to sponsor the Little League season and you want to get out there and you want to throw the opening day barbecue and you want to put your company name out there. Well, that's no different than making a post. But if you want your community to respect you as a business person, to respect your business as a top priority of the community, you got to do something. And some people think, well, I don't want to be online. Fine, but you got to do something. Right? It isn't always about being on the socials that you have to be on. You have to be doing something within your community, setting yourself apart as a leader of the community. And that's a brand build in its own right. So it comes in so many different ways. And it isn't just because I did it with a camera. And that's what I did. I did it with a lot of photographs, a lot of videos. That's how I did it. Okay, fine. But that doesn't mean that's the end all be all. Being part of your community and being in it and helping those kids on Little League or whatever it might be, whatever that looks like, feeding the homeless. I don't care what it is. If you want to be part of the community and respected and not being, looked at as a plight on the community, you're involved doing those little things. So, Stuart, it could be those little things that really help, along with, of course, being out there on all the socials. Does that make sense?
And I mean, yeah, it's exactly right. When we're talking about building a brand, we're not talking about building a digital brand only. Of course, I believe strongly that if you don't have a digital brand the next 5 to 10 years, it's going to be very difficult for you to have a business. But what we're talking about is start somewhere, get that brand out there, like start spreading the love, spread your name out there, doing the correct things. I mean, you'll be seen, you'll be noticed, and you'll be, as you say, seen as a stand-up part of the community.
And I think that one of the best ways you can be a stand out in the community is how you represent your facility. Now, I personally believe that you have to be clean, you have to look professional. Your facility must resemble a professional recycling facility and not a waste facility, not trash, not garbage, not junk. If you want to do something right from the start and you don't want to do branding, you want to do all this stuff, start there. Make the outside of your business look worthy of a place you would want people to enter. Okay? That's your first.
I think Terry said to George, when we drive up to the yard, we need to be proud that that is our yard on the way in. It's not when we're in there or when we're looking at the accounts. Literally, when you drive up to that yard, you need to be proud of it. And then George tells a story about how he planted trees once outside the one yard and came back the next morning, they had all been stolen. So they had to hire security to guard the trees for like a couple of weeks, I think it was. So if they're doing it, you should all be doing it.
Yeah, there's a lot of facilities in some not so great areas in the communities. And look, America is big. Big cities are big. Small cities are big in their own right. So make it look good. Make it look proud, that your employees become proud to go there. And that's your first brand build. It's what your people see and what the community sees when they see your facility. If you can make people proud that you're there in the community, you're branding.
John, what do I do if I'm second or third generation? I'm bigger than the guys I spoke about earlier. They're like, I don't have time. I'm all work on the business. I'm strategy, but I'm still inside the company. I'm still doing stuff in the company, in the yards, etc. And I have no marketing budget. I've never had one. My grandfather never had one. It's just not been a part of the business. Where do I start now? Because everybody thinks I need to go hire an agency, right? They're like, well, I mean, that's how you start. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, agencies have their purpose, and I don't want to put them down. There's somebody within your company that knows the digital game today. There's somebody in your company that has a concept. Now, as the owners, they may not want to deal with it, but every owner of every company has a direction, has something that is their core belief that they try to get across to their employees, and they want to get out to the community. They want to get out to the customers. Just because you're the owner, you don't necessarily have to be the face, but have those core beliefs out there. So where do you start? You start with somebody's got to know something within your company how to do it. Start small. Like I said, I think going back to what I said is, if you don't want to be on the socials, fine, but you've got to be in the community. And I think that's where you start. You start where it's the easiest entry point for your comfort level. And if that is being a bigger part of the community, fine. If it's getting out there on socials, you found somebody who knows how to do it and you want to try it, you want to dabble, you start. It's like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. You have to take that first bite. And you have to take that first bite of building your brand in that community. And what does that look like? It can be 100 different things, but you have to take the first bite and you have to do something different, because it isn't just about buying metals, tons in and tons out. You might have the most tons coming in your yard, but if you don't have anybody to process it, so you've got to attract talent. And you attract talent by being out there in the community. So there's a lot. You got to start someplace. Be it in your community involvement, be it on socials, be it on like the Facebooks, or ad in your local journal of some sort, whatever. You have to start someplace, and it can be in a lot of different formats other than just the digital and high-end videos. You don't have to start there. I mean, I think people get scared away because of what I did in that respect. You don't have to do that. You can take pictures and post it. It's easy.
It's like you say, one bite at a time. I think if people look at repurposed, just your Super Bowl ad, pizza box, like that is intimidating because nobody can see how to cross the chasm. It's like, I've got to get there. Oh, I can't get there, so I'm not going to do anything. So it's like, how do you, okay, here's something tactical.
I didn't start
If somebody wants, I know, we get it, but people are coming in and going, well, that's what they want me to do. And then we're trying to say that's not what we want you to do. We're saying just start. So here's something. Let's be tactical. Okay. Somebody listens to this and says, I'm going to start on Monday. I'm going to start. I'm going to do something. Give them a piece of content that they can do. What I mean by that is equipment. This is our material handler works.
Monday morning, all right? You listen to this and you're going to start Monday morning and you're going to do something. You have to define what that something is, and you have to have a team to execute whatever that something is. Define what you're going to do, and then execute it, and then see what happens. But come up with 3 different concepts first. And so put one out. Does it work? Did this work? Because not everything you do is going to work. So you got to be flexible and versatile and be able to maneuver. But have a strategy of something, and then have a team to execute it. That's it. It's that simple.
I'm going to take a step back, John.
And execute.
You're intimidating people again. I employ 25 people. I don't have a team. I'm saying that I can do it. You, the owner operator, can take it. So let's say you're going to do a day in the life, or you're going to do a before and after transformation and showing a car versus it being pressed, right?
Right.
Like 2 photos. Go there, take the photo, take the second photo once it's done, and then go upstairs to your office and post it and make a cool story.
Okay, so I see what you're saying about the team. Okay, so you might be a team of 1. So you're the team.
Okay, yes.
You come in and you said, okay, I'm going to do something completely different. Well, I think the easiest thing is first figure out how to use an app of either LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram. If you don't know how to do that, all right, go into the office to say, we are going to sponsor the opening barbecue for this year's whatever it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe cancer happened in your family and you're passionate about it, and your local community has a cancer event. All right, I'm going to be a big sponsor and I'm going to be out there, and that's what I'm going to do. That's your team. You are the team. If you're the only person, pick something you want to do that's going to put your company in front of more people. It shows you care, or shows that this is who we are, or whatever it may be. That's where you got to start. One idea, and then execute it. Be it one person or a team of people.
If you can do one thing, I'm going to tell you something that I've seen work, and I've seen it work with you, and I'm going to ask you the question: why does humor work so well in our industry?
I think humor works for everything. I mean, look, it's serious enough as it is, my Lord. I mean, humor's good because it takes tension away from what we do. There's a lot of tension on what we do. I mean, let's look at 2025. Look at the tension 2025 had with tariffs. Tariffs alone.
Don't get me started.
You talk about it, but it threw a lot of people off. And so a little humor, lightens your day. I think humor works well in so many elements. I mean, take the Super Bowl ads. They're not as funny as they used to be, but Doritos used to have the funniest doggone ads because they found humor to work for their ROI. Now, you don't have to be ridiculous with your humor, but if you can make somebody smile in the depths of all the craziness that we're going through in this country right now. I mean, let's face it, it's crazy times. Doesn't matter what side you're on, but it just seems like nobody can smile at the other guy. Well, if you can make somebody stop and smile for a second, you've reached a person. And I think that's why humor works so well, because the bottom line is, what did my dad tell me? And I'm sure all our parents tell us, cry and you cry alone, smile and the world smiles with you. So if you can make humor work and somebody smiles, it's almost like you did a good deed. You don't have to be these comedians who offend people. Humor doesn't have to offend. Humor can be fun, clean, and put a smile on your face. And I think humor works in so many applications from the medical world. When people are struggling, sometimes a doctor saying something cute and funny makes a person feel better about a bad diagnosis or a long term, okay, I got to heal or whatever it is. I remember this. My dad years ago had a TIA, which is like a mini stroke. It was nothing impairing. And my uncle, as we went to the hospital, we're sitting there talking to my dad. He goes, "Because I guess your brain got overloaded with all those jokes." And he smiled. It was funny. It was appropriate because my dad had all these jokes, right? And so the point is
It's
humor.
awesome.
Humor can make you feel good. When you smile, you feel better. So that's why humor works. It's that simple.
And I think it aligns you to something, right? So who is giving me the smile? So if we think about the company side of things, if you're making people smile, people like you. People want to do business with you. You can be as serious as you want. That's great. There's a time to be serious. But if you can lighten people's day, people are more likely to come and spend time with you versus somebody else.
Well, I agree. I think look at Table Scraps, the Chef's Challenge. People
Yeah.
laughed at that. They thought that was the greatest 1 hour show we ever did, Stuart, because it was
It was the
crazy. It was
greatest day
fun.
of my life.
And but it was fun. And there was so much humor going on, right? There's so many humorous things that
Yeah.
happened that day. And that's what made that particular piece a big success because it was crazy fun and it was humorous.
Mm.
You see cooking shows on TV, right? There's not a lot of humor going on, and when people are sweating and the judges are ripping
Yeah.
people apart. Chef's Challenge, man. Table Scrap Chef's Challenge made people smile. That's why it was a success.
Tell me something, John. If 1,000 people, 1,000 operators, metal recyclers, in the next week posted on social media telling their story, how different would this industry look?
Dramatically.
Talk us through
I
that.
think that if 1,000 people every day, maybe 1,000 different companies every day, if there's 10,000 of us and 1,000 every 10 days and it just rotating every day, there's a big message out there. And this message was pushed to our policymakers and to the regulators about what we do and what we mean to the American economy and what we mean to the everyday lives of just every human on this planet. We could change the narrative. We have a long way to go. I wish we would have that. I wish we could. People don't realize the power. They really don't realize the power if this industry grouped together as a mass, whether we're in a trade association or not, but as a mass, we started telling our story and start telling it daily. You couldn't hide from it. You couldn't run from it. You, as a policymaker, you couldn't put your head in the sand. You would start asking, why are these people always doing the work? That's important. And it would make a difference. It would change our industry. It would take a bit, but it would change it.
I want to then finish with this because we're going to run out of time. If every one of these people listening to this right now decided to post tomorrow, what is the one sentence they should all post or put in their post?
Our industry is the most vital industry in the world today. Without us, the raw materials to make all the new metals and paper products that we need to live our daily lives would not exist.
Well, there you go. We just did all the work for everybody. So there's your first post. Take a photo of your yard, and John's written the copy for you. Get it out there. So I'm expecting the day after this comes out to just see thousands of posts with John's. You don't have to quote John if you want to. Otherwise, you can quote John Sacco.
I don't need any credits here, people. I really believe for those who watch this have to understand we have the most powerful message. No industry reduces CO2 emissions like our industry. That's another one you can put out there. We save energy consumption and CO2 emissions by using our materials, raw product. There's another sentence you can use. Why are we the most vital? You can go through the environmental side of it. You can do on the making a product side of it. But any statement that tells the truth, it has to be truthful, about how vital the nature of what it is we do, be it vital to our environment, to industry, to humanity, we win.
On that note, John, thank you for being on Born Scrappy again. Loved
I
it.
love it. I enjoyed this a lot, Stuart. Thank you. It is fun to be here.
Thanks, John.
All right.
Cheers. That's it for this episode of Born Scrappy. If you have any questions, stories, or topics you want us to dig into, send them my way. Until then, keep it scrappy.